Welcome back. The 2017 Africa Cup of Nations is currently going on, and so will the Africa Union Summit this week. The AFCON usually brings together national teams from all across the continent and football enthusiasts. I don't have the latest on the scores yet, but I'll be talking to someone who does in a while. You see, sports has been found to be a gigantic and powerful medium for the international spread of information, reputations, and relationships that are the essence of public diplomacy. According to the University of South Carolina Center on Diplomacy, the size of global audiences for sports and the audience's level of interest exceed those of any other subject matter, including political news and the movies. It says the nature of sport in its human striving for excellence and in its competition, its winners and losers carries its own messages. Nigeria Super Eagles media officer Toyin Ibitoye joins us now for the analysis.
Ideally, the principles that we have in sports is supposed to be the same with what we have in politics. The principles of fairness, the principles of collaboration, protecting the interests, protecting the general good. Ideally, we're supposed to have those same principles in our politics. Politics is supposed to be some kind of sports at a much bigger level. I mean, where you have to deal with people, where you have to protect different interests, and at the same time, make all of these people with their different interests, with their different background, culture, and understanding to still agree to a common good.
It's almost the same thing as ruling a country.
Exactly. But that's not what we see these days, because along the line, people just refuse to agree to work together. Sometimes they believe that their own interest should override the interest of the other person. And that's where there's a difference between what we have in sports and what happens in politics. Maybe the interests that you have in politics are a lot bigger, are a lot larger, because you're talking about economics, you're talking about defense, you're talking about resources, which are a whole lot more on a bigger dimension than what you have in sports. Maybe that's why sometimes the parties just refuse to agree together. But ideally, we're supposed to have the same principles that we have in sports operate in politics. People say in politics, the spirit of sportsmanship, you know. But we know that sometimes the interest of these people is so big that it refuses to be sportsmanlike when the results don't go their way.
If you bring that same attitude into sports, what would it look like?
Oh, then sports will not be what it is. If we refuse to agree and we refuse to work together for the same good, and you feel that you've been deprived, because when you look at it, when the person feels cheated by what is operating at that point in time, you feel your interest has been undermined, has not been protected, or you've been sidelined, and then you want to fight it out. It happens everywhere, even in sports. But the difference is that in sports, somehow, whether you like it or not, you eventually bow to the common good and allow things to pass. But in politics, you know, because of the countries and the allies and the interests that are so diverse, so complex, sometimes you just don't want to let it go. But in sports, you have to let it go. You have to bow, for example, to the decision of the referee. In a football game, for example, a referee is there controlling 11 guys on this side, 11 guys on the other side, who may even be a lot richer than he is, more influential than he is. People want to see these guys. For example, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo playing in the same game, these guys together, the amount of money endorsement that they have probably could take care of all the referees in the world. But they still have to obey a referee's instruction. The referee can send them out, can punish them. They still have to come, drop whatever interest, whatever ego they have, and allow the referee to have his say.
Why do you think it's easier, you know, when it comes to world politics and diplomacy, why do you think it's easier for people to obey one person during a game than it is for people to obey a group of rules and, you know, a group of set rules and regulations and principles and treaties that guide relations between countries? Why is it so difficult for people to just, obey them? Why don't they enter, these sorts of treaties and, these relations with the same attitude they have towards sports?
It's the interest. It comes down to the interest and what value you place on that interest. That's what it comes down to. It's very easy for us to look at a football game as a football game that ends right there where it is. And then the footballers, of course, outside of the football pitch, there's a lot more that goes on in terms of what people that are watching from all parts of the world, the amount of money that is involved in it. But at that point, all that they focus on is what happens right there on the pitch, that rectangular piece of land with the goalpost and the players. That's where it ends. But for politics, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper. The interest, not just yourself, the interest of a lot of people that are tied to yours makes it very, I think it just comes down to the interest and what value you place on it. Because at the end of the day, you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the multiplier effects of an action, and you're looking at what can come out of it if I put a little more pressure to force a change. As you are thinking about what you want to do to force a change, someone else is doing the same, and then it becomes a lot more complex, and then before you know it, the dispute breaks out.
The Africa Union Summit will be holding this week, and I know that the AFCON championships have already begun. And of course, everyone on the continent is a bit quiet now because of everybody's focus is on what's going on, the players, the countries, and everything. Africa has been talking about integration for such a long time, and yet we still haven't achieved it. But it's so easy for us to organize AFCON championships, and we can all play. And then, I know we don't mix politics and football and sports and all that, but can we use sports as a tool for integration on the continent?
Yeah, we can. We can use football. We can use sports. It's a huge tool to bring people together. And politicians will tell you that whatever can bring 1,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people together is something that you need to pay very close attention to. And that's sports. We have a lot of instances, a lot of examples all across Africa, particularly in Nigeria, of what sports does to the people in the middle of a political crisis, in the middle of an economic crisis, and then there's a big football or a big sports event and everybody forgets about their woes for a while, and then immediately the tournament is over, everybody says, okay, look, we were united in watching this competition, in following these games, it's over now, let's come back to the issues that we have to resolve. Our leaders will really need to do a lot more to understand what the power of sports is in bringing everybody together. And I always tell people that sports, particularly football, is a very good tool to preach the gospel of unity in diversity. Let me use the Super Eagles of Nigeria I'm very close to as an example. Our goalkeeper is from Anambra State. Our first choice goalkeeper, Kali Keme, is from Anambra State. We have a right back who is from the north. We have a central defender who is from the south-south. We have another one who is from Ogun State, Leon Balogun. We have another one, William Trustekong, who is from Akwa Ibom. We have a left back who is from Edo State. And when the goalkeeper has the ball, he's not thinking about where do I find my brother from the southeast to roll the ball to. He's so confident in the ability of the guy who is from the north, who is playing as a right side defender for him. He gives him the ball, so confident. That one plays along with the central defender from south-south and the one from the southwest, and then the one from the south-south, and they blend together to produce a team. And when we were playing, people call them the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Nobody remembers that Ahmed Musa grew up in Kano, or that Leon Ingalo grew up in Lagos, or Brown Ideye grew up in Bayelsa. Everybody plays together as a team. And when we win, and Ogenyo Nazi is celebrating with Ekali Keme, is celebrating with an Odion Igalo, nobody remembers that, look, you are from the southeast, I'm not supposed to celebrate with you. The same thing with those who are watching. When you are watching a football game and Nigeria scores a goal, the guy is jumping and celebrating with another guy has not met before. True. And it's all for one purpose, for the team to win and for Nigerians to celebrate. So I think we can learn a lot from what sports offers in terms of making everybody pull together in spite of our diversity our different strengths, our different weaknesses, complementing ourselves in the area of weakness, consolidating on your strengths, and producing a team that goes out there to do the nation proud.
And that's the program this week. Tell us what you make of any of our topics this week at Amarachi_Ubani and at Diplomatic Chan. I am Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.